waving at anybody. Welcome to Last Charlatan Tonight. Thank you so much to the 9 people watching. Big thanks to the editorial staff and my mom for tuning in. Mom, don't tab away just yet. Time for a quick recap of the year. We begin with the depressing state of the news industry. Premier Doug Ford showed his commitment to free speech by drastically cutting the budgets of independent student news across Ontario. The Student Choice Initiative has forced non-essential student groups on campus to adapt to potential budget cuts, by which I mean try to survive their bankruptcy. The KKK men's rights activist Gun and Rifle Club is thrilled that they will be protected, but they were disappointed at the potential lack of coverage by the student paper they will get next year. Basically, if you opt out, you get to buy an extra pack of gum with that $2 you pay every year to your local student newspapers. Now, you can enjoy the fresh taste of gum while watching democracy die in darkness. Right here at Last Charlatan Tonight, we've decided to cope by wiping our tears with leftover paper copies. At least that way, they're being used. Other student organizations are facing cuts as well. CKCU, the local radio station, will be forced to deliver broadcasts via cup and string. CUSA boldly combated the cuts by fleeing to New Zealand, which saved them about $9,800. Just goes to show that when the going gets tough, CUSA gets going. Other initiatives included sending former executive Abdullah Jabber to chiropractic school. CUSA hopes this will allow them to be relabeled as health services and thus be labeled essential. The Green Party of Canada released a statement in support of the Charlatans scaling down to a monthly publication, citing a win for the environment. Sanitation engineers also celebrated not having to clear up all the discarded papers filling recycling bins around campus. In case you haven't read it in The Charlatan, Carleton's hopped on the self-improvement trend by rewriting all of their policies this year. But like all New Year's resolutions, they have proved harder to stick by than expected. Adoption of the Indigenous policy on campus will be put off until next year, which seems true to form. Why do today what you've been putting off for hundreds of years since colonizers first arrived on these lands? The sexual violence policy has also undergone changes to become more appropriate in the current political environment. Frankly, there's no way around it. The sexual violence policy is problematic. I don't think the university should be engaging in sexual violence at all. Lastly, our investigative news team uncovered that the dining services at Carleton had labeled a pulled pork sandwich as halal. This raised anger from the Muslim community as they realized bacon was halal this whole time. I am, of course, kidding. Pork is not halal, noodles with butter and pepper isn't pad thai, and whatever glop they call curry isn't curry. This is what happens when we let white people run dining services. Huh. Active attacker alert. It's probably fine. In national, things suck here, but are they any better across the country? In a word, no. In a longer word, no! But seriously, democracy is dying in darkness and we're rapidly headed towards ecological disasters as we appoint leaders that deny anything bad is happening. It's depressing here, and it's depressing abroad. Maybe I'm just depressed. Wait, we legalized weed! I wasn't depressed, I was just not high. Wait, is substance abuse not an appropriate treatment for depression? Maybe I should see a counselor about this. How long's that gonna take? Oh, 3 months. Yes, that's reasonable. In money news, the Student Federation of the University of Ottawa did not commit fraud, but got voted out anyway. But the Ryerson Student Union wasn't voted out despite bawling out at clubs, going to fancy restaurants and emptying LCBO shelves by using student funds until they got caught. Donald Trump reportedly approached the Ryerson Student Union executives for a position in his cabinet. Doug Ford, in response to the news, deemed student unions on campus crazy Marxist organizations, which is simply ridiculous, and he sought to cut their funding. The Ryerson Student Union executives responded, "We weren't even buying vodka, so joke's on you." There was a CUSA referendum on whether to stay in the Canadian Federation of Students, more commonly known as CFS, and even more commonly known as who? CFS rode a weight of apathy and dislike of CUSA, and an elevator, to ensure Carleton did not defederate from the coalition of student unions. Features. In features. Who reads features? Too many words. In arts, Doug Ford's funding cuts have rippled across many arts clubs and societies, as they have been deemed non-essential. I wish Ford's mom had deemed him non-essential. Student theater groups on campus have been saying that they will be taking a minimalist approach to their shows, in anticipation of the Student Choice Initiative. This comes after years of taking a minimal approach to attendance in their shows. Sock and Buskin's next year of production, The Lion King, will feature only the original Disney animated film, projected on a bedsheet in a Dunton Tower classroom, with Sock and Buskin members live dubbing over the characters. Of course, if we wanted to watch the story of a ruthless brother taking over and ruining a domain, we could just be following Ontario politics. In op-ed, here's an opinion from the left. We're all fucked. And here's an opinion from the right. We're all fucked. This year in sports, our men's basketball team has done great. Our men's football team is pretty good. Our men's hockey team is also good. Our men's soccer team is great. And let's not talk about our men's lacrosse team. And yeah, that's all the genders that matter. What's that? What? We have women's sports teams? And they're often more successful than men's sports teams? Feminism has gone too far. Dave Smart also stepped back from his coaching role to crown himself supreme overlord of all Ravens basketball. Smart's larynx was reportedly thrilled at the news, only to find out that this will mean Smart will be yelling at players through the wall of his office. Smart said in a statement that this will allow him to spend more time with his family. Smart's wife reacted to the news by buying his children earplugs. This news comes in the wake of the men's basketball team winning their 14th championship from the past 17 years. Smart reportedly rented out a storage locker after accumulating too many trophies and other junk like NCAA contract offers. To conclude, it's been a wild year of news. But from all of us here at The Charlatan, we will continue to be Carleton's independent weekly. Even as journalism everywhere shrivels up and dies, even as funding cuts annihilate public services, even though Doug Ford just cut off our funding, the news doesn't stop. And we will persevere and continue. Opt in.
Also probably also all time.